What is up, guys, and welcome back to another Felix the Phantom video. And today we are going to be reviewing the movie 28 Years Later. Yes, the long awaited sequel to the 28 days and to the 28 weeks later movies. Listen, this was my most anticipated movie of this year. Well, not really. My most anticipated horror movie of this year. My most anticipated movie of the year is actually going to be Superman, which I will be reviewing when that movie comes out. But back to 28 Years Later, man, guys, I was excited when they announced this movie. We waited 13 years since the last one came out, which was back in 2007. So us fans have waited 13 years for this movie to come out. You know, there's been talks about recent years about how this movie's gonna come out, and never did. It always got delayed, and every single bump they'll go through. And now here it is, 13 years later, with Danny Boyle coming back, who directed the first movie, and Alex Garland, who wrote the first movie, coming back one more time to give us the third installment for this franchise that all the fans have been waiting for. And what are my thoughts on this? Well, first off, I'll say this. This might be my most disappointing horror movie of this year, which is really unfortunate because I was looking so forward to this movie, and it's just so sad and it just sucks that I waited 13 years for this movie, and this is the movie that we get. This is the movie that we got, and it's such a shame that I'm not just the only person that thinks this way. And other people think the same thing as well. Starting out with the things that I do like. Now, I do really like the story direction that 28 Years Later took from the previous film, 28 Weeks Later. We follow a post-apocalyptic world where society outside of this mainland that our main characters are stuck in have abandoned this island. Like, no one's allowed to go there. Like, Navy and military are all have security and ships and like all this stuff guarding the island. So whoever sets foot in that island have no chance of getting out because you are quarantined in this island and there's no way of getting out. So I do really like the story that Danny Boyle took 28 years after the event of 28 Weeks Later, which the infection evolved. They got more smarter. They got more vicious in their hunting and their killings of their victims. I also really do like our two leads here. We have Aaron Taylor Johnson playing Jamie, who is the father of Alfie Williams' character Spike. And the character of Spike, I really do like his story. You know, the character development that he goes to, you know, you have this young boy who's being raised by his father, and his father takes him out into the mainland, out from the village, so that way Spike could grow into the man that his dad wants him to become. And he wants to make sure that Spike is able to defend himself, that he's able to survive any type of weather settings, that he's able to survive out there with the infected that are outside of these walls. So I really do like the character development of Spike. You know, he starts out with this person who's very scared, who's very nervous of going into the mainland with all these infected people, and all of a sudden throughout the movie he becomes more of a man. He becomes like a grown-up, learning these things that he's going through to become a grown that his dad has been teaching him for all these couple of years. So I really do like the story of Spike, what he becomes later on down the film, as well as Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is a phenomenal actor. I mean, he probably wasn't great in the movie Craving the Hunter, but he did really good as a supporting actor for Spike, to teach Spike how to live a life outside these four walls and not just stay in this village where everyone else is scared to go outside to get resources because they're scared of all these uninfected people. As well, there's also a character named Eric, who's played by Edwin Writing. My apologies if I miscast his name or mispronounce his name, but his dialogue interactions with Spike, you know, that deals with technology and all this stuff, because he's from the outside world. He wasn't raised inside the mainland, was pretty hilarious. I found myself laughing my butt off because you got things like you have a character you have Spike who has no internet, no they have no makeup on the island, have none of this stuff. You have Eric, who's from the mainland, who has cell phones and you know, all this makeup stuff that girls wear, and internet and Wi-Fi and all this stuff. And with Spike and Eric interact with each other, it's just so funny because none of them don't understand each other. Like, what's internet? Well, what's makeup? But like, what do you mean? Like, you guys do this? Well, you guys do that? You guys have toilet paper? Well, what's toilet paper? Like, it's just super hilarious. It's just kind of like commenting on today's society, which is pretty funny. And also, another thing I really do like, it's Ralph Fiennes' character, which is Dr. Ian Kelson, which his character in the movie, they kind of tease him in the very beginning what he does, But when you find out what his character is doing inside the movie, trying to figure out like what these infected are and what they do, that's very interesting. I really do think that the bone temple that he has with all these victims that he's been burning up, and he takes their skulls and puts them in the sculpture, I think it's very interesting. It adds like an extra layer of suspense, an extra layer of questioning who this guy really is. Even though he's a regular doctor, but he's trying so hard with his doctor skills to try to find a cure, to try to find out how do we defeat this infection? How do we stop the spread of this infected that's crossing the mainland? So I really do like his interaction with Spike and with Isla, which is Spike's mom. That's very sick in this movie, and it's very sad, you know, her arc in this movie. You know, she finds out that she's very sick, and Spike's trying to do everything in his power to save his mom. And I really do like their interaction with each other. So I really do like Isla, the character. And I know that Dr. Ian Kelson is coming back for the next film, which is 28 years later, The Bone Temple, and that he'll be exploring his, you know, origin story, and exploring like how he built the Bone Temple in the first place. So I really do like that. I also got to give another shout out to the infected in this one. Now, the infected is nothing like the ones we saw in 28 days or 28 weeks later, where back in the day, you know, they're very like couple of weeks apart, you know, and they used to the infected wearing, you know, civilian clothes, pants, shoes, shirts, hats, you know, all this stuff. So, you know, they look like normal people. When now you see the infected 28 years later after the infection, now you have infected that look like more like cavemen, look like savages. They have no clothes on, they're fully naked. You see all their human parts, and it makes sense for me. Yeah, it does make sense in a logical, realistic standpoint, because these guys don't have clothes, they don't shower, they're infected people, so it doesn't matter if their clothes are ripped or not. They're gonna go out there and hunt for people, for flesh. And I really do like it. And I also like the add-on on the big guys, you know, the alphas. They call them alphas in the movie, which means they are infected, which are bigger, are taller, are stronger, are smarter. And these guys in the movie, the 2 times they came out of this movie, they brought in a lot of devastation. You could feel these guys' presence in this film. Like, they were so huge. Like, every time they would yell, you feel the theater the bass of the theater would just roar, and you feel the vibration of your body. It's just like, man, if you see one of these guys in real life, you are screwed. You better run away and run from these guys, because these guys will tear your head off in one split second. So I really do like the alphas in this movie, and it's just very, very awesome effective. Now, I'm going to move on to the mix here. Now, there's some things in the camera work in this film that really, really did not work for me. Now, I know that this film was shot on iPhones from articles that came out. Danny Boyle even said himself that they shot this movie on iPhones. But there's some scenes in this movie where Spike and his dad Jamie are running away from infected, and they turn around and start shooting some infected with some arrows. But in certain scenes where the infected get hit or get shot or hit by these arrows, there's a couple of times where the camera will stop, take a short pause, and then all these other angles will take place from the side or from the back, and it would just look so odd. It would look so weird. I don't know, like it done that a couple of times. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it took me out of the movie a couple of times because I just don't like that effect. It doesn't fit well. It doesn't go well with the flow of the movie. The movie is going fast paced, where these zombies infected are chasing the 2 main protagonists, and all of a sudden they shoot them, and it takes 2 seconds to pause, so that way all these, you know, shots can take place. It just feels out of place. Like, I'm not a fan of it. It just doesn't work out. So that's another thing about this film that I just don't like. The camera work. Now, I'm not saying the cinematography is bad. The cinematography is fantastic. It's phenomenal. It was just some editing choices that were just out of place, and I just did not like. So yeah, that's just one thing I did not like, and that's gonna fall into my mixed reviews. All right. Now going on to things that I did not like at all in this movie. And I know there's going to be a lot of people going to be talking about the tone and the setting and the atmosphere, how this was like a totally complete different movie than what the trailer showed, because the trailer was so good, it was so promising, and when you've watched the film, it just feels like you're totally watching a totally completely film, and I get that, I understand. And I gotta be honest, like, I really do feel that way. When you watch this movie, it feels nothing like the trailer. Like, the trailer, you watch that trailer, and, man, the trailer just feels so awesome. It feels horrific. It feels horror. You feel suspense. You feel the vibe. Like, it's gonna be a serious, dark, breaking movie. And then when you watch the movie itself, you're just like, this feels like nothing like the trailer. Like, the characters feel off, the dialogue, the script feels off. Some of the scenes just feel off. You know, like, everything just feels off from the trailer, and which is very disappointing. Like I said, that trailer is one of the best trailers I've ever seen, and just sadly, when you watch the trailer and you watch the movie, it's just a completely different thing from the trailer. So That's one of my big negatives. And finally, my last negative for this movie. There's going to be a lot of people that's going to be talking about the last 5 minutes of this film. And you're going to have some people that like it, what it's doing, because it kind of leans more of the aspect of the UK history reference side. But because I'm not Ukrainian, or I'm not part of the UK, I'm not British, that last 5 minutes of this movie, if you don't get the reference, you are going to be very confused and annoyed at what they did in the last 5 minutes. Because everything they set up throughout the entire movie, and then you go to the last 5 minutes, you're just like, okay, like, what did I watch? What did I see? What was the point of this scene? Why is this scene in here? Why is the tone of this scene in here? Who are these people? Why are they doing that? Why are they dressing up like that? Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I was in there with my wife, and my wife and I were watching this scene, and the things that they were doing in this scene were just so complete garbage, so complete out of left field. My wife looked at me and said, are we really watching the same movie we've been watching the past 2 hours? Because this doesn't feel like the movie we've been watching. And I agree with her. Like, we were literally walking out of the theater, and all the people I heard walking out of the theater literally said, okay, what the heck was that? What the heck was that ending? This ending was weird. This ending was stupid. This ending was crap. Like, this ending had nothing to do, this tone of the ending had nothing to do with the entire movie itself. So, this ending was very, very dumb. It was very out of left field. It felt very out of place for this film. And I don't think for me it's going to age very well. Now, I'm hoping the next film, the sequel, The Bone Temple, will answer why they ended it like that. And will answer the tone of the ending of this film. And I hope it's a good answer, because as of right now, I do not like the ending. I think the ending is dumb. It's too corny. And it's just out of left field. It doesn't fit within the movie. So, yeah, guys, you're going to see a lot of people talk about the ending. And I'm one of those guys that doesn't like this ending. It's very And also, one more negative before I end this video off. Another negative will be, for me, the opening scene. Now, this opening scene does not come close to the opening scene of 28 Days Later, and it certainly does not come close to the opening to 28 Weeks Later. When you watch this opening, it's like it's over in a heartbeat. Boom, 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 infected. Boom, people run away. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, you get the title sequence. 28 years later. Boom. All right, back to the movie, back to the story. Like, literally, the opening sequence is maybe like 2 minutes long. It's like so quick. You're just there, left scratching your head, going, was that it? Was that the whole movie? Like, that's it? Like, that was the opening sequence? Okay? Trust me, it's not memorable as part 2. It's not memorable as the first film. It's just kind of pretty forgetful, which is unfortunate, because I was expecting this opening scene to be very compelling, very horrific, very, like, draw us into the movie, like, man, this is gonna be good. And I didn't feel that way for this opening. It was very disappointing. So, yeah, that's my last negative. The opening of this film was not very that great. It was very wishy-washy, goes by really fast, and it's gonna be a very forgettable opening. But alright, guys, my final thoughts overall of this movie, it's very disappointing. It's just so sad, because I waited for the movie for about 13 years to come out, and finally watching it, having a 13-year wait, and finally after watching it, oh man, it's just very disappointing. Like I said, there's some good cinematography, there's some good zombie sequencing, there's some good characters in the movie, but the lack of story and the lack of, script writing, the lack of logic, ignoring some events that took place in the first and second movie, some choices with camera work and camera editing, and just the ending itself and the opening sequence itself, it's a very disappointing movie. I don't think this is better than the 28 Weeks Later, and it's not better than 28 Days Later. So if I ever do a ranking, I truly believe this is going to be in my number 3 spot, because it's not very, it's like my brother say, it's not good. I won't ever see it again, and I'm not buying it on DVD. So I honestly probably wouldn't watch this movie again. And as much, as sad as it sounds, as much I want to get back into this franchise and into this world of what they're building, I don't think I'm gonna get back into this movie. I'm probably gonna watch 28 Days and Weeks Later more times than I ever watched 28 Years Later, which is very unfortunate, because you have the directors and the writer from the very first movie. And the very first movie is a masterpiece movie. If you see my review, I think it's a masterpiece. So yeah, guys, it's very unfortunate, very disappointing. It's probably gonna be in my most disappointing movies of the year, and it's very unfortunate, guys. So yeah, guys, that's all I have to say. I actually want to say thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. If you guys like to see more videos, go ahead and press that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will be reviewing every single Jurassic Park movie and giving a ranking before Jurassic World Rebirth comes out. So yeah, guys, what do you think about 28 days later, 28 years later? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think about the ending? What did you think about the opening? What did you think about the movie overall? I would like to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, and I'll try my best to reply to each and every one of your comments. Guys, I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.